So I know you're probably thinking, way to dress up, bro. Really appreciate it. Or you're thinking that Jax and Opie had a kid. And if you're a Sons of Anarchy fan, there you go. All right. I actually had someone at an airport in Atlanta want to take a picture with me, thought I was Opie. I was like, whatever. All white people look alike. Thanks a lot. So let me kind of tell you a little bit of my story, even though I jumped in kind of to the RV thing. In 2015, I had kind of like my own agency in a sense. I was director of marketing for a company, and that job ended in 2014, so I thought I'll just go out on my own. And I did that, and things were really kind of cooking along, and then towards the end of 2015, things started getting a little sour. Money wasn't coming in as fast as it could. I was a single dad with 4 kids. 2 of my kids had already moved out of the house, so I still had the 2 in the house. And I started interviewing for this job. I was doing like 13 in-person interviews. I basically was doing free consulting. And the CMO that I had to interview with, funny enough, was on Brian Kramer's show. And I got to watch him, and I was like, oh man, this guy really seems great. We're gonna get along. He's this like Irish guy. He's really cool. And you know, I'm like 1/8 Irish, so I'll really play on that. I'll make sure that he sees all the Irish tattoos, blah, blah, blah. I walk in, I didn't walk in, I'm sitting down, and he walks in, and I stand up. I swear to you, he says, holy shit, you're tall. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm totally not gonna get this job because I'm tall. Like, this is the weirdest thing. Like, and yeah, a week later, I got a call that they're going in a different direction. And I was like, that was it. That was all I had. So I literally gave notice on my apartment, and I went homeless in 2016 for like 3 months. I had to put my kids with some family and friends. It was like, just a terrible time in my life. And I was like, all right, what do I do now? I got to figure this out. And I'd already basically said I would volunteer at Social Media Marketing World, where I work for, and I'd already been 4 years before. So I was drinking the Kool-Aid for this company long before I decided to become a volunteer or even an employee. So I went as a volunteer, and people were asking me, you know, like, hey, Damian, how things are going? And I just played it up. Like, nobody knew. I was basically kind of living out of friends' couches and out of my car and trying to figure it out, try to get back up. And right before the conference, I got a job with another company, so I knew, okay, I'm gonna get things fixed, and that was it. I got the job, got a new place, kids came home. But after I left the conference, I felt kind of like a fraud because I was not expressing kind of what was going on with some really cool people. The volunteer peer group is actually pretty amazing at conferences. And I just went into our little Facebook group, and I was like, hey, I bet you didn't know that while we were hanging out, I was homeless. And immediately, Michael Stelzner, the CEO, founder of Social Media Marketing World, got a hold of me and was like, hey, I want to help you out. How can I help you out? He did. He was a total blessing. Sent me a bunch of money that really helped me get through. And then he was like, I want you to meet with my biz dev person, Emily. She knows a lot of people, because I think you still think I needed a job. So I was like, yeah, that's cool. So I sat down and had coffee with her a bunch of times, and she's like, what do you think about sales? I was like, I hate sales. Sales is awful. I didn't know I was being interviewed for a sales job. They hadn't told me that yet, so really knocked it out of the park there. But then I kind of followed up, because it's, the way that sales is done, it's just really all this push, 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 kind of stuff, and I just can't get into even, I can't wait till GDPR comes to US, because then it's gonna really F things up for a lot of really crappy sales and marketers. And the way that I've operated my sales and marketing, I'm already in compliance. Like, whatever, bring that over, it'll be fine. So for me, I thought I'd put my foot in the mouth, and a couple months later, they're like, hey, we're gonna do an interview, and we'd like you to interview for this job. And I was like, that's sweet, Social Media Marketing World. And I was like, it's a remote job, right? Because that's what I was looking for, because I knew I wanted to get out of California. And they were like, yeah, it's fine. So great. So interviewed, somehow, passed the background check, got the job. And it's an amazing experience. But what I've learned was, I've been in sales a long time, but the brand is so good. Social Media Examiner and Social Media Marketing World, the brand is so good. I really thought I could just call people up and say, hey, I'm Damian, I'm a Social Media Examiner, here's where you send the check. Like, literally, I still had that kind of mindset. And what I learned instantly, it's all about relationships. Even though I work for a great brand, and someone can have let's throw like a Hootsuite. Like, it makes total sense that a Hootsuite would be at a Social Media Marketing World conference. Like, why wouldn't they? But again, there's still that relationship. And I wasn't doing anything, or hadn't really done anything to build relationships in the space. And even when I was talking to my employers, like, hey, I'm gonna start doing some of this stuff. Let me say this, it's kind of funny sometimes, I think, when you work for a golf company and you're really good at golf, but they don't want you to play golf. it's kind of weird. And so for me, it was a little off. But I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some stuff and we'll just see what happens. So 91 days ago, I started a video series. Now the idea was I'm a sales guy, but my background's marketing. So I thought, hey, I'm traveling the country full time. I hadn't done anything with my travels. And part of that was worried that what if I started doing really good at vlogging and showing all this moving around and this lifestyle, that at some point my boss could be like, hey, that was cool that you did all this vlogging, but sales sucked. Bye. I mean, that was literally a fear of mine. And and as sales started to do really well, I started picking up on I'm gonna start talking about this experience and bringing it into video format. But I really went into it as a creative outlet. And maybe that's why it's kind of going well for me, is I didn't go into it with, I'm gonna go in for likes, I'm gonna go in for views, I'm gonna get 1 million subs, all this stuff. I don't care about that. People ask me all the time, how many subs do you have, bro? Bro, what? What is that? I mean, let's fight. I'd rather fight than talk about subs, because if we're gonna be childish, let's be childish, let's bring it. So for me, I'll tell you just a really kind of interesting moment that happened to me. And I was talking to my friend Amanda, we're on Skype, and she has a friend over at the house. And the guy's walking by. I guess I'm on a pretty big screen. He's like, whoa, bro, I like your beard. And then he's like, holy shit, you're that Road to 300 guy. And I'm like, you're kidding me. How I've done 91 of these videos. How do you know who I am? That's nuts. That kind of stuff happens after you've done 1,000 videos. Or at least that's the mindset we put ourselves in. I'm never gonna really start to have a reach outside of my family and friends for a long time. I'm gonna do a sample of one of these videos. I don't know if you guys are queued up and ready to go. This is day 90. You can see kind of what I do.
Day 90. Do you ever have people tell you that they think outside the box? What I always like to ask is, who put you in the box? Why are you thinking in a way that restricts you from doing really cool and new things? Who taught you that? Who made you feel like you couldn't get outside of the box and do things differently? I think that's the question we need to ask ourselves. Anytime we try to say that we're thinking outside of the box or we're doing things differently, it's what kept you in that box? What kept you not trying new things? I'm on day 90 of Road to 300. And in 90 days, things have changed a lot. And consistency and trying something new will open doors for you. It'll open some boxes. So I encourage you, stop worrying about whether or not you're thinking outside of the box. Try to figure out why you were being kept in the box and don't ever get in the box again. All your thoughts should be outside of the box. That was the most Dr. Seuss thing I've ever said. Is me in a box the most homeless look I've ever had right now? I wish we had a bigger box. It was tough to be in it. I'm claustrophobic. I'm not claustrophobic at all. Whew. Currently in Oregon, but tomorrow I'll be in Ohio. Lima, Ohio. Social Media Week Lima. It's gonna be fun. We got some cool things coming. You gotta check out Road to Social. Road to Social Security. No, that's just getting old. Man, it's really hot. Would you like better, the shower or the box? Both are stupid. But they get the point across, right? The props are good. I'm gonna take off. I think I can go back out this way, right? I'm going to sleep. Leave me alone. Wait, how do I fold my home box? This folds this way. All right, that's it. I'm going to sleep.
When I started the series, I kind of got some grumblings from people saying you're trying to be the next Gary Vee. I was like, really? I've been wearing that gray beanie long before Gary Vee ever wore a beanie. Relax. And I think that's part of what we do. There's an old saying, you know how to keep a crab in a bucket? You put another crab. Because when one tries to get out, the other one will grab him. It's legitimately true. One crab will escape and go, but if you have two crabs, they'll never leave. And I feel like I even kind of got some of that. And I also felt like I wasn't being true to myself. I'm gonna let you in a little secret. Last night I was ironing slacks and a button-up shirt. And I was like, I have to dress really nice when I'm at Social Media Marketing World. And this morning, I was like, that's a fraud. That's not who I am. You guys saw my beanie bob. It's a white V-neck. I wear a white V-neck really every day. My family owns Ross Dress for Less. Hello. We don't own Ross Dress for Less. I'm Ross and I dress for less. It's just cheap and easy. So that's it. So for me, there was something about it. I think there is a time to get dressed nice and do things. Don't get me wrong. But I also feel like on day 33, I'm always wearing a white shirt pretty much. Obviously not in this shower scene coming up, but I'm always wearing a white shirt. And one day I switched to a gray shirt. There were so many comments I didn't even recognize you. It was so weird. You're wearing a gray shirt. I'm like, it's 30 days in. How do you guys even have a pattern with me anyways? It's the weirdest thing where I'm like, all right, I'm just going to stick to kind of my own brand. So a lot of the feedback is like, Demian, we love your intros. Obviously, we love kind of the exits more than anything, the black and white stuff. So then I decided to do this one because I struggled for the longest time. I don't have time to create content. I struggled with this forever. So let's go and roll this one. And damn, I wish I was in better shape. This sucks.
All right, day 87. Let me turn this off, hold on. For the last couple months while doing this series, I've had some people say to me that they don't have time to create content. I'm creating some content while in the shower. I'll be the first to say that I battled this too, that I overthought the process and I didn't just say, you know what, I can just do it and then figure it out along the way. That I tried to figure out and count the cost, how long it would take to do things or to do this or to edit this or post this. Really just start creating. The time will find itself. You will find the time if it's important to you. You will. You'll make the time. I'm not saying it's not a struggle. I'm not saying it's not hard. I'm not saying that you're more busy or less busy than I am. But if you really want to create content, if you really want to get known kind of in your space and build relationships or be goofy and funny or have a creative outlet or whatever it is, you'll find time for that. Make time for that. If you have to, schedule just the 15 minutes throughout any day to shoot a little video, to write a little post, to take a photo, to just create content in and around you, your brand, your business, your service. That's the shower leaking, by the way, just in case. You have time, find it, use it. The time you spend today is going to benefit you so much 30, 50, 60, 87 days from now. Just start creating some content today. Do I have an eyebrow hanging out? I'm actually wearing a bathing suit. Can you see it? All right, I just want to make sure everyone's aware. Fellas, if you don't know about this, it's the loofah sponge glove. Oh my gosh, these things are life-changing. Ladies, get this for your guys. Oh shoot, I could see the screen. I wonder if I've been looking at it the whole time. It's just in our nature to worry and stress about things that really probably aren't even worth stressing about. All right, let me finish this shower. Oh, that's too cold.
All right. All right, so my day one video, I thought of it that day. And the Demian Ross that you don't know would say, okay, I gotta figure out a plan. I gotta schedule these things out. I've gotta figure out what kind of camera equipment I'm gonna use and all this stuff. And I have all the gear, trust me. I did a post on Instagram not too long ago where I probably have like $2,000 worth of gear. I can do anything, and I've done shit with it. And it's like, what's the point? What's holding me back? So I literally sat down with my iPhone the first day and just did day one. And the road to 300, so I'll explain it, is, that's awesome that my name's spelled right. I have a tattoo that's effed up. If you guys could help me with that, that'd be great, because that was quick. I said Michelle with 2 L's, bro. All right, so, no, I've had it lasered off since, don't worry about it. Okay, so for me, that would be the thing. I'd want to plan it out and have all this stuff going. And I really just sat down with an iPhone. The road to 300, I have 3 goals that I want to accomplish, and each goal has kind of a 300 theme to it. The idea was also I wanted to do 300 videos in a year. Like, just start creating content. And originally I was doing them, they were really just under a minute so they could be on Instagram. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna just continue to do as long as I felt like the video really needed to be, and it'd be cut off in Instagram. The long form videos coming to Instagram, so at some point they'll catch up to me, and then I'll be on all those different platforms with the full video. But it has converted a lot of people from like Instagram to YouTube, because you don't get the outtakes, you only get a minute, it cuts off right there, and you don't know what is, and you see people leave, which is really cool. But there was no planning. I like to plan it. I felt like I was getting the energy from the planning. And then by the time I started something, I was out of energy in a way. Because that's what the excitement is. Guess what I'm gonna do? And you start talking to people and telling them, they get all excited for you, but you don't do it. I just started this kind of so, again, I could ask for forgiveness, not permission, even though it's kind of my own brand. It's not done under the company I work for. The day one video is terrible. It's just iPhone, you can't really hear me. I'm sitting at the table in the RV. I don't have like any graphics. I just didn't do any of that. I just started to do it every day. And again, with the idea that I could have a 65-day buffer if things didn't go right for me. But now I'm 91 days in 91 days. I've done one every day. And there's been plenty of times where I don't want to do it. I'm tired. But I had a situation a couple days ago where I didn't post it publicly. It was on YouTube. I did everything, but I just didn't hit public. It stayed private. And I got, crazy viral 3 messages from people saying, hey, where's your day 89? What's going on, bro? You falling off? And I was like, this is crazy. It's only a couple of days. It's like 3 months into it. And there's already that kind of Now, what's really cool is I have brands reaching out to me in 90 days, hey, tell me more about social media marketing world. Or they're retweeting the videos that are really good prospects for me. How much easier do you think that sales call is now? For me to be like, hey, I saw you retweeted my shower video. Awesome. What's going on? That didn't happen. I think I lost the client on that one, to be honest with you. But it's opening doors I just didn't, and that wasn't the idea, that wasn't the mindset. I didn't go into it for that. I went into it for a creative outlet. I'm in Salesforce and GDocs basically all day. I needed this as much as anything else, but I knew there was something in the back where I knew like this would help. And at first, I even think in the first videos, I don't think I'm really being Demian, and I talk about this all the time, where there's this analog and digital kind of disconnect, where we have who we are in real life, analog, for anyone I know Brian mentioned beepers and stuff. What did he say, the late 90s? I was rocking a beeper in like 87, but it didn't have numbers, it just vibrated. You had to call a number, and then they told you what was going on. That was the worst. I didn't, anybody know what 143 stands for? Do you know where that came from? Beeper. So your girlfriend could text you 143, and you're like, oh, that's nice. What's the rest of the number? I'll call back. So for me, there's this disconnect, and I did a video on it recently, and I feel like I run into it at the event. I'm really good with faces. I always said I would have been a great cop, but a terrible cop, because I'd be good with faces, and I'd probably shoot or arrest you, but be like, were you a criminal or were you on my softball team? Like, I just wouldn't I can't remember where I know you from. And that's the same thing with meeting someone online, especially profile photos. Some of you are cheating, because that's not what you look like. If I look like my bobblehead, this is who I am at all times. It's really easy, and again, I have a big beard, I'm 6 foot whatever, and people will be able to connect. But I have a really hard time, and then I start to notice, but that's not who you are online. That's where the disconnect is. You're different in person than you are online. There's this disconnect between analog and digital. And I also see it in the reverse. Just if you guys are managing pages and groups, maybe you're seeing this. I obviously have gone on a lot of photography, video, drone, full-time RV kind of sites or pages and groups. I have, not since high school, I've never been called an idiot to my face over an opinion. But in groups, it happens all the time. And I'm always I just want that to happen at a coffee shop. I want to talk about where I'm the new DJI Maverick Air is the best drone. Some guy just walk up, you're an idiot. It's not going to happen. I'm like, why are you using a different voice on digital you would never use in an analog situation? One, because you probably think I could punch you. Well, Facebook's got the poke. That does something, right? I can get back at him for that. And I don't understand the disconnect. So I thought, I'm a sales guy. I don't know if a sales guy would put a video series like this together. A sales guy you think we'd put suit and tie on, and we'd talk about our company, we'd pitch our company. And in the last 90 days, my boss, who I think would be great on video, she's awesome. And she's like, okay, we need to start doing something for social media marketing world. This is really working. I see how people are commenting and talking and doing this stuff. And I was like, I think that's the last thing we need to do. We don't need to create a daily video series around our brand, because really it's again, it goes back to the relationships. People really, I think people look at Apple and it's I want where people wait outside for 4 hours to buy my donuts. That's not, you're never gonna get to that level. And we use that as the example where what you're able to do in your personal life sometimes doesn't transition into your company or brand. And I think that's okay, and I think it's really important, especially if you guys are the ones hiring people or in charge of people, let them have this brand. It's gonna help your company. And I think we go back to even Wendy's. When Wendy's really started being awesome, just smart ass, they're savage, and it's fantastic. All these other companies are now trying to, guess what, become savage. I even saw Whataburger where it's oh, Whata pancakes, when that whole IHOP debacle was happening. And it's no, bro, that's Wendy's thing, stop. And I think there's probably a lot of companies that would argue to never do that. It's really worked for them. It's who they are. Be you. I can't express that enough. It's so easy. And yet, it's also terrifying, because I don't know if you guys have this problem, but I hear stuff that I'm saying the same time you hear it. Okay? There's not that process. It doesn't okay, Damian, before you say this, think about it. And at least I have, like, that's why I don't go live. Being on live would be a shit show, for sure. Like, and literally, I'd probably say shit show on the live and get in trouble. So for me, I don't do live, I just do jump edits. I say uhs and ands a lot anyway, if you haven't already picked up on that. I do that a lot, and it's not great for video to have a bunch of I say things and I immediately regret it. But there's things that work out perfect. When the shower was leaking, it really sounded like someone was taking a pee, where I was like, I've got to explain this. This is getting so weird. It became like just a great little moment. Like that was what, obviously I didn't think ahead of time that I was gonna have the shower leak and I was gonna say this, but it brought in the most comments. Like people would say that. And then what I also learned with the outtakes, which has been great, is people stay to the end, because people will say, oh my gosh, when you're getting back in the box, that was funny. It's like my little sign that they've watched it all the way through. And remember, it started at a minute, and I have ones that are like 4.5, and people are staying all the way through because now they've seen this kind of pattern. Again, video 1 had none of that. Had no, like, I don't want to call them outtakes because I'm not really, well, I mean, I do mess up, but I'm not messing up like in an outtake. It's just a different kind of thought process that's going on, or funny things I've said that I now put towards the end of the video. But the original ones didn't have all that. All that evolved over what people liked and commented on. And so even as much as I thought, oh, okay, I know what's going to work to help my personal brand, I was wrong. But I learned really quickly, and I think that's really great, to get in there and be able to adapt to it. This has cost me nothing, really. 15 minutes a day. I was actually originally going to shoot one on stage, but then I thought, that's a little too preppy for me. Like, I really try to keep it where I just think of a subject, and then I go from that. So I'll probably take one of the speakers spoke today, and I'll do a video later on today, and it'll be on something that was said today. I think I said today 5 times right now. That sucks. That would have got edited. I would have said today once. I'd have looked sick, smart right there. So what I want to do too real quick is show you the human side of it. I'm going to say a lot of things, and one of them's a lie. I'm an only child. I went to a high school that a white kid did not go to for 45 years until I got there. My mom produced The Tonight Show with Jay Leno and Johnny Carson for 25 years. I have 4 kids ranging from 17 to 27. All the same mom. I've got 2 white ones, 2 brown ones, 2 girls, 2 boys, 2 straight hair, 2 curly hair, 2 left-handed, 2 right-handed. I was shot in high school. I was stabbed in high school. I robbed an ice cream truck at 12 years old with a handgun. I dated a girl that broke up with me because she was going to become a model. You might know her as Tyra Banks. Yeah, good luck with the modeling thing, whatever that lie is. Let me see what else I could throw out there. It's something you might have already known. I'm traveling the country full time in a 5th wheel. I don't own any pets. My roommate has 2 cats. I seriously lived with them for a year. I don't know their names. I call them both Bubba, because that's just how invested I am in cats. But hey, they keep predators out of the rigs, or mice out of the rigs. They have a predator scent. I was like, I'm all for that. Who wants mice in a rig? So they get to stay. I could say that I was homeless, but you guys have already heard that. So this is all the stuff. I've been sober 21 years. My sobriety's legally able to drink. That's crazy. Hey, wow, nice. I'm allergic to alcohol. It's not that big of a deal. I'd break out in handcuffs. Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you? Woo. So I'm like, I probably overshare. There's stuff there that you just probably wouldn't share, you wouldn't talk about. Anybody can guess what they think the lie is? You guys, I was good looking when I was like 17 years old, all right? Don't let what happened in the last 30 years, that's what I should have brought a slide for, is check this guy out. I know I look like chubby Ben Affleck right now, but trust me, it's not the tire is true. No, my mom has been with, Johnny Carson came to my first wedding, and my mom's been with the Tonight Show since then. My mom hit the jackpot. I was talking to Brian about this the other day. My mom hit the jackpot. We grew up poor, and then all poor. My parents bought a home sight unseen, like from Seattle. We literally like got in a truck and drove down to LA, and it was like, you've seen this scene in movies in the reverse. You don't usually see it when a white family moves in the neighborhood. They're like, what the hell's going on? Why are they here? This is ridiculous. So what else, what? Any other guesses? The cats? No, I really don't. I mean, technically they're named after some cartoon characters, but no, she has cats. I don't know their names. No, they kept me in a year after. After I graduate, my photo's in the yearbook one more time, just so they could keep a white kid in that school one more time. I'm not even messing around. And it was weird for me because my parents bused me to an elementary school that was really kind of all white kids. We went to Larchmont. If you're familiar with Los Angeles, I basically grew up like Pico, San Vicente. My grocery store, my liquor store all got burnt down during the riots. So, all right, that's it? Nobody wants to why the hell would I rob an ice cream truck? The hell's right? 12 years old? You think I had a gun? Now, that was the thing that's funny about that's the truth. I did rob an ice cream truck, but it was like at night and closed, and we broke in, and I was selling candy for months. It was awesome, until my dad found out, then it's not so awesome. All right, so I do this a lot. Within my social media, within Facebook, I share stories. I share things that are going on, and it's hard because it's who really I am, and I think a lot of times, if you've met me online in the last year, you might not know how I grew up. And then I have friends that I interact with that maybe the average white guy couldn't interact that way. And when I got terrified, Facebook was like, hey, do you want to see what Demian said on Pookie's photo? No, don't show that to my boss. Don't tell him what I'm talking to Pookie about. I have a great story about Pookie I just want to share because my dad's awesome. We had a gang in our neighborhood that was called Mansfield Hustlers, all right? Whatever. And this guy had this huge tattoo on his back. It said MFH. And he's playing basketball. My dad comes outside and he's like, what's the MFH stand for? And I'm like, Dad, chill, man, relax. It stands for Mansfield Hustler. And my dad's like, you do realize Mansfield's one word, right? I'm like, no, Dad, stop, right? So we always have this joke, like my dad's making fun of the gangster. And for me, they actually changed their name. Like it's MHC now. Like I thought that's so funny that they went in and rebranded. Like they got teased enough that their acronym was wrong that they decided, we got to change that. We can't be really, and just in case, I never became a gangster. Nobody wants the white kid in their gang, okay? That'll mess up all your street cred, so I was fine there. I share about it all the time. I hid a lot of that stuff. I mean, the applause on 21 years, like that's something I hid and kept really secret. I didn't talk about it. I was playing poker as a semi-professional. I wouldn't order a Coke. I wouldn't get a drink. And people were like, are you Mormon? I'm like, I'm playing poker, bro. What are you talking about? I just don't drink and I don't have soda. But I just didn't talk about it. Where now in the last 5 years, I've really talked about it. Even when I got this job, my bosses knew my story. Like I was open about it. I talked about it. And I think that's where I think a lot of us we will talk about things in our analog world, and man, we hide it, condense it, spin it, filter in our digital world, and I'm telling you, it's hurting your brand, because people can't connect with you. They can't connect with the real you. I didn't think I'd actually ever do a video in the shower. But I thought, you know what, that's really real too. I did a post, and there's a picture of me, we're walking through the Narrows in Zion, and I just look fat. Like just bad, I don't know what position I was in. It's not, I'm not putting the camera up high. My son took it, and I posted it. I was like, I'm gonna post this, because this is the photo I would never post. Like I just wouldn't, I don't look good in it. And everyone wants to look good in their posts, and I just posted it and just said, I basically was talking about how I just feel like the experiences are the experience. And when we take a photo of it, and we start to decide what gets put on, I think the mindset is we just really start to filter our true happiness. And then we almost start to go into a negative thought process, because I had this Narrows with my 18-year-old son, and we're walking through, and we're knee high. Everyone else has got water up to their waist, and they're trying to struggle through. And it was a great moment. And he took this really cool photo, and I thought it'd be fun to post it. And I couldn't believe the response it got. Now, I did get some other ones too, because again, crabs in a bucket. There were some guys and some ladies, whatever, that were like, oh, if I had your body, I'd show it off too. I'm like, one, you're an idiot. Just kidding. Remember, we call each other idiots online, right? All right, and then I thought, that's that kind of mentality. It's helping them with their negative speak. They're talking to themselves by being able to say, well, if I look like you, I could do it. Trust me, most of my friends that are doing it are still in their 40s with six packs, and they're just built. And that's why they're showing a photo. And I'm like, that's not what you have to be online. And I think it's really hard for people. It's hard for people within their business. It's hard for people within their personal brand. I just want to encourage you guys to be you. Take whatever you're doing, who you are in an analog space, and put it into the digital space. I guarantee you'll be successful for it. Where am I with time? Because I feel like I'm good? All right, I'm gonna wrap it up really quick too. I feel like you hear people say all the time, well, if I can do it, you can do it. Honestly, you guys, if I can do it, if I as a sales guy that is selling kind of a high-end product to a very niche market, can get in a shower, can climb over a wall like I'm so out of shape, I don't know how to get over a wall. I can be in the White Sands, New Mexico. I can be in the back of my RV, back of a truck, come out of my pantry. And that is somehow building my brand. Think about what you could do for your brand or for your company that people would fall into. I will say this that I always find, I think almost every slide so far we've seen today had the office in it. And I've always felt like there's companies that could do this. They could create a YouTube office show. You all have characters that you work with that you know would be funny if they let themselves be that character online in a way. No, don't filter it. Just be you. Ask that dumb question. We want to catch it on video. That's fine. You've worked here 10 years and you're still asking where the coffee maker is. Whatever it is, like that stuff is really funny and genuine and people like it and they'll engage with it. So, I'm at Demian Ross. I'd love for you guys to follow the series. I'm here to answer any kind of questions and do really anything I can do to help out. I'm glad to be here. The last little analog thing I want to just share with you guys is one of our directors called me up and said, hey, Brian Fanzo's speaking at this event and he's going over to Wichita and you're coming to Wichita. Why don't you guys road trip together? They're just being cheap, didn't want to have to pay to fly Brian in, so they brought me. And I also think, like, what's that movie, Brian, where you have to like get the guy to the rock show? Like that's my job. I gotta make sure Brian gets to Wichita. He's a loose cannon. And it's always like, well, Damian, you're sober 21 years, you could drive. That's a bad thing about telling. So then it's turned into now, there's like 6 or 7 of us leaving here. We're driving to Indianapolis to hang out, and then some are dropping off. That's all they can take of us in a car. And then we're gonna go to Wichita, and then in Wichita, we're picking up like 15 to 20, I don't even know what the number is, and then we're driving to Social Media Day Denver. I'm really happy that my company saw this as like a good thing, because I work for a social conference. Your idea is we're not gonna share and talk about other social conferences. Well, one, I don't think there is a better social media conference in social media marketing world. Remember, I was drinking that Kool-Aid for 4 years before I got the job. And I like that the mantra's kind of been, if you're gonna go to one social media event, you need to go to one local, and you're doing that. And you're building kind of the analog side of that. I hope you get more out of the table talks and the people that you meet than you do out of speakers, because I didn't do that the first 2-3 years of social media marketing world, and I cheated myself. So take time to know your peers. As opposed to just wanting to get to know speakers. Because I've sat down there more than I've ever stood up here. And I've learned more from sitting down there sometimes than I've ever learned from what's being said up here. So look to do that. The analog side of the relationship is gonna be huge. Fanzo and I have known each other for a while. We had to do that $144 Uber ride, my most expensive Uber ride from Columbus. We were in Columbus, right? This is the greatest thing about Lima, which I was saying, when Jessica invited me, she's like, you wanna come speak in Lima? I was like, oh, I've never been to Peru. And then I told her I wouldn't tell that joke anymore too. I've been telling that joke forever. She's like, that's rude, I'm sick of it, stop. That's it, I can't tell it anymore. But the idea that Brian and I sat in it's like a 2-hour ride, we'll always have that analog moment. Jessica's introduced me when I was volunteering to when I got the job, we met online. And when I got to my own event in 2017, Jessica's like, hey, do you want to go to this party? Introduced me to like 25 people that have been really great relationships. We had s'mores, Mike was there. I started talking about my experience in drinking in Utah, and a guy got really upset and offended because that's not the laws today. When I was drinking in Utah in 1989, Utah had different laws than 2015. We always have that story. Every time I see Mike, I'm like, what's up, Utah? Because this guy lost his mind. Again, people lose their mind over states. So I'm keeping that out of the videos. So we're doing this thing called Road to Social. You can follow us over the next 10 days. We're starting it today while we're here, and obviously tomorrow, and then we're gonna move on and drive. You can hang out. The hashtag is Road to Social. We'd love to interact with you guys. And I wanna encourage you, the whole idea of this is maybe next year when you're coming here, if you had to drive, it's like match up with some people and like drive in and build those relationships. You'll be really impressed. I don't know why we've stopped with the analog networking, why that's gone away, but relationship marketing, and I'm not talking about like really good Tinder profile, I'm talking about relationship marketing is still really, really Wait, did they not have Tinder in Lima? That didn't go over very well. That usually kills. You're on it. That's why it's like, oh, shut up. Don't be at the Pizza Hut later. You'll see me. All right, I'll see you guys at Menchie's. All right, is that what it is?